Order 5 after 3. We're here to continue our budget workshops. This is a general budget meeting. We're kind of catching up on all the budget that we have not had a chance to go over yet so far. I will turn it over to the clerk to lead the discussion off.
Okay, so I'm just gonna cover the ones that we haven't talked about to date. We'll start with general expense or current expense committee. And the first one in that we haven't talked about is the commissioner's budget. It's, fairly cut and dry on that one. I gave the 5% increase for salaries. And benefits were according to what that impact was. Meals and lodging, we went up significantly so that all 3 commissioners could attend different meetings this year. We did the same thing with registration and travel. Office supplies, as everybody knows, have gone way up. We did bump that up. Doesn't appear that we've probably bumped it up enough, but still maybe there's room to bump that some more if you guys choose to do that. Telephone, it's about on track there. It's really the only changes that I had in commissioner's budget.
Office equipment, we had bumped up. It looks like you put it back to 500. What was your thinking there?
Because we have 3 new commissioners that we needed to get new things. Tracy got a laptop and all that.
Okay. That's not copier.
Office supplies also are impacted by that because we have to have all new letterhead and stamp, different things. So maybe have a change of the guard, yes.
Okay.
Clerk, can I just inquire? I don't know that I've got this budget in my stack.
Oh,
Am I missing it?
well, yep.
I'm starting at
the same
Fund
thing.
9.
I apologize.
You may have. It's okay.
There you go.
Just-
Did you guys have it? Thought I
There we go.
two of the same thing.
Thank you.
Are we recording this besides this too?
We are recording.
I know, Barbie is too.
Oh, I don't know if
Yeah.
she's recording, but we're recording our official one. Okay, is there any more questions on the commissioner budget? Looks like the main changes were driven by the change of commissioners. Right? Seeing none from us, do you have, what's next for you?
Corner.
Okay, 106.
Yes. Coroners across the state asked for large increases this year in their salary and that of their deputy coroners. Most of the counties have upped them a little bit more than what they were because they're not often full-time employed. There are larger counties have that, but the others don't. So originally, Rick asked for $17,947,000. He's currently at $11,947, and I bumped him up 5% to $12,554. Yeah, I also looked back down through his, he isn't benefited really, well, he is benefited, but his deputies are not benefited. So, I have those, which is our normal increases that we have. Under the supply items, coroner supplies, he'll be buying those at the end of the year. That's pretty much what he always does to keep the stock. Their supplies have gone up as well. Fuel, we know, has gone up, so we did increase that a bit. Vehicle expenses, they're tracking well. Professional services are tracking well. Really, the only thing that is of concern is the autopsies. We don't get those invoices in a timely fashion, so they're not gonna track for how many months that we have. So we're leaving that at 50,000 instead of 55. He feels we might be able to do, but right now there's at least, well, not as of last week, there are at least 5 of them out there that we haven't gotten yet.
Yeah.
That need to add to that total. So. And he does a really good job on his expense lines for like ordering the supplies like body bags and whatnot. He gets them in there at a discounted rate, buys a whole bunch of them at once. That's why he does it once a year. And you can save a lot of money doing that. So that's pretty good. So you will notice that with all that said, budgeted amount was 104,000. Current is 99,000. You do have room to increase that if you want to raise the salary closer to what, you know, comparable to other corners in the state. And that information's on a IC website.
So the budget amount from 2022 is actually lower than what the amount came out this year, right? I mean, our budget for 2024 is lower than 2023.
Yeah,
Yes,
by about 5,000.
Yep. and then realize when you do that, you want to figure in what the benefit.
Yeah.
Change the vehicle.
Madam Clerk, as a point of
Yes.
inquiry, has our coroner or you tried to run any comparables for counties that have a similar number of death investigations? This position's unique in that
Yeah, it
he's
is.
not full-time, but it's also a metric that kind of chasing a number that's a little difficult to report,
Mhm.
identifying counties that have, 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 death investigations. Where are they at?
Yeah, I have no idea. And I don't know if he has, I know across the board, because all the clerks were getting a request for significantly increasing their salaries and their deputies this year. Because they are low. I mean, he spends a lot of time out there on them. So, but I have not ran that number.
I'm just asking because that would be a number that I
I
would
don't
think
know.
may be really beneficial if you
Sure.
could pull it. If you could look at the 44 counties and say, these are the 15 that are closest
Yeah.
in death investigation numbers to us. And let's
Death
look at those.
investigations, I have no idea on. I don't know if that's part of what IC looks at, because they may
Mm,
look at that too, because they look at a lot of different matrices,
mhm.
and, or the Coroners Association. I'm sure they have that information too. Because the ones that I work with that are comparable to us, I go pretty much by population.
Mhm.
And then I look outside that and say, okay, what about the ones that are on major freeways? Maybe they're, like Nez Perce County, even though they're much larger, they're on a
Sure.
major thoroughfare that get a lot of traffic, because the ones that are like size to us would be more like size probably to what Rick is, but he's got this. I
Mhm.
mean, the opioid deaths, we are, highest, so that every one of those
Yeah.
investigated, so that's a lot. I
Yeah.
don't know where you would go to get that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I have not done
Yeah, he would benefit from a PowerPoint, but
Mhm.
I wonder who keeps all that.
I would say the Coroners Association probably is the best place to go. They probably know how many autopsies and whatnot they perform
Mhm.
in a year and what their salaries. I know they keep track of their salaries and benefits and how much their deputy coroners make, and I'm sure statistically they have that information as well, but I haven't looked into it, and I don't know if they ask who's insuring thousands. Yeah, his budget request just came with a number.
Good point. Good point, Mr. Prosecutor. Okay. Any questions on the coroner?
No.
Okay. I think you've explained everything to me. All right, what do you have next is building
Building and grounds.
grounds,
Their report to the commissioners.
1-10. Our maintenance and courthouse repairs and cleaning.
This one, we did change a bit this year where we moved Max out and over to the safety building and we hired Randy. And we brought him in, at 41,414. I increased him to 46,016, which is a 5% increase. The janitors, custodians, there are 3 of them. I did the same thing with them. And the benefits follow. And I spent a lot of time on benefits. They are what they are.
They-
Travel, we put down $75 in the budget. Last year, there wasn't any, or this year, I should say, there wasn't any, but I would expect there should be something coming in, maybe from, but he has a vehicle. I know he drives a county truck, so it's probably why we won't see that unless he goes somewhere or something else. I don't know, that he can't take his truck, but I'm not sure. $75 isn't going to cover an airline or anything like that. So, might cover his meal if he goes somewhere and needs to have lunch or something. Could be put into that line item if you don't have one for meal.
Okay,
Custodial supplies, I left the same. Maintenance supplies, I bumped up a little bit. Heat, I brought it into line with what I think it might be based on where we are through the year, but also knowing that we have the new chiller here, so that should change our costs, I would certainly hope.
I mean, we're kind of counting on that,
Yeah.
cutting some money.
But I don't know, just the best guess. Telephone stays, it's fine. We didn't change a lot of these things in there. I went up a little bit on water. Building maintenance fixtures, you can see that we're way over on that. We know that they are getting some things done this year, maintenance wise. He's fixing some things and built some very nice cabinetry downstairs for his supplies that cleaned it up really nice and nice addition. So I increased that because I know there's a lot more things that need to get done. The left maintenance contracts the same. I reduced new equipment and furnishings because I don't see that we need any as far as the building and grounds piece go. And equipment, I raised $500. Capital expenditures, I reduced to 30,000 to 35,000. So overall budget increased from 273,833 to 291,8.
And that increase is due mostly because the 5% increase in
And the
Yeah.
benefits.
benefits and
That, and then I increased those other line items too. I reduced some, but I
Yeah.
did increase a few.
on the water, won't the system use less water because we don't use water for chillers anymore?
That's what I was told, but I haven't seen that yet.
Okay,
And I haven't seen it at the sheriff's office yet either, so
okay.
I don't know how long it takes to catch it up.
We may need a year of bills to figure out if it really saved us.
Okay.
Any questions?
No.
Okay,
The next one I have is
Next.
county general. County general is also a budget of the commissioners. There are no employees in the budget, for county general. They're more county-based, higher level type things, so office supplies for the county general for 46%, I left it at 1,500. We did go up on telephone because that is our Zipling line, coming in and our JNR. And some peak electric I went up based on, we need to have a budget for it. They moved that, I guess, a couple of years ago. I believe it used to be under the sheriff's office. They moved it to the commissioners. went up slightly on audit. So I did have a conversation with Tony a couple weeks ago about just kind of a roundup of our budget, how many hours they spent on it and everything. It actually, they went into it this year, $47,000 on their side. And they billed us, 33,933 is what we'll get the bills for. So, we're under our budget, and we have one more year in our budget cycle under that agreement we had with them, because it's a 3-year. So I would anticipate next year, they will be asking for more money to bring it through. So,
But we do have one more year with them in
we have one more
contract.
year, yep. So next year it's 36,900, and then realize that, we'll also have the ambulance audit in there as well, but it will be in its own budget. I reduced professional services, but I mean, that can be bumped back up. I don't know what I'll use that for, but it's, currently, I believe it's boosting. She does title searches and whatnot.
Hopefully.
I think she does something, you know, but. And, there is advertising and legal notices when we put the tax detail in the paper for August and July. That one bill for 4 postings was $9,000. And that comes out of the commissioner's budget every year, as well as all your other actions or budget hearing notices. So that really jumped. Other advertising notices that we do come out of planning and zoning. Elections, we do some. Thank you. But they really jumped.
The cost of advertising.
I mean, there were a lot of them on that advertisement, but that's way high compared to what we've got in the back. But it's 4 weeks and it was several pages. And if we add, I mean, it's really our only local newspapers, but we don't really have a choice. We have to buy cat sheet, posting at certain intervals, so just need budget for it.
Do you know under dues,
Mhm.
which dues that's covering? Is that IAC?
There's IEC dues in there, yeah. IEC is 10,763. Anticipate to go up. And that's the big one that probably is a little concerning. When you look at it, it's miscellaneous expense. We budget $800 every year for that. Generally, it takes care of things like Christmas decorations, or when we have the receptions for elected officials or something like that. We take some things like that. That's what's in there. This year, we had to have some place to put the Silver Mountain 2017 settlement. So, through our agreement, that's where we put all of our postings in there. So we add, settlement and tax appeal check we wrote to SNO or somebody ops for 182,621. And the school district repay this for their, what we covered for the tax appeals for 19, 20, and 21, which was 128,000 OTO. So we will be getting a refund from all of the districts to cover the 2017, which will make up the majority of that.
Now, document disposal, we're like at 46%. That,
Document disposal is on,
Ritter.
shredder.
we just haven't done it yet this year.
We do it. We have a contract to do it every month, but some months they don't show up because they don't have a driver. Other months they don't get them all, like last month, they didn't get anything on the third floor and we were completely full. We tried to catch him and called the office and kind of trying to turn around, but they wouldn't, so we won't get billed for those because they didn't pick them up. But this month when they come, in fact, they were supposed to come yesterday, I'll see if they did.
Okay.
Or actually tomorrow, I mean, the 26th. We will have a lot of extras because we're doing all that scanning upstairs that we have to shred all that documents. We have boxes of boxes that they should have taken last month and didn't.
Okay.
So we'll be charged extra for those. It'll catch up and they just raised their price. It was $25 per bin. We have, I think, 7 of them. And they raised it to 26 to 27.50.
Okay.
And they're doing that monthly?
They do it monthly and they also have come over to the sheriff's office too. And
Okay.
we could actually use a couple more bins when we're doing all the scanning. And then when we have time to start cleaning out the basement, we'll even need more because you can't just throw this off in the floor.
Okay.
And then I added the line for employee recognition, $2,500. Good job.
Any questions on this one, Mr. Commissioner?
No,
It's not the first time you've seen it.
Nope.
Okay. And did you have any comments, Mr. Prosecutor? Okay, all right.
Next one is community project.
Public defender.
I have public defender. What do you have?
Oh, I missed that one.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah, that's a pretty simple one. It's just the capital defense fund. We put $7,000 into it. We used to pay 65 and they bumped it up to 7, but they haven't been charging us that. We get an invoice for it. To IC, and so I put it back down to 6, but we put it back up to 7.
And this is our insurance, basically.
That, yeah, you could look at it that way.
I mean, right?
Help with big capital crimes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have no questions on that one. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Community projects.
Okay, these are community projects that we budget for every year. Sometimes we'll get letters that they want to increase or ask for some special money for something. This year, I got 2 of them. One of them was for Kootenai Soil and Water Conservation District. That one we were tracking under a different fund.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about later, Historical Society, I think is when we have that, or somewhere else. Anyway, I moved it here because it really makes more sense to be here. So I put that one in. They did receive 3,000 last year, this year I should say, and they're asking for 5 next year, and they have a letter that they sent to you guys asking for that. And then I got another one from Silver Valley Seniors, and they were, in their letter to you, they asked for $4,000. But we give them 8.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that, I mean, if you talked to them, did they want an additional 4 on top of the 8 they already did, or?
I haven't heard from them.
Okay, they sent you guys this letter, right?
I haven't seen that letter.
Oh. Pretty basic stuff.
For increased funding for Meals on Wheels. So maybe they're thinking that's
They want 4,000 more.
an increase of 4 on. I wonder if they don't mean that on top of the 8. I didn't see the letter, so I didn't follow
I
up.
didn't add additional because I know we already give them the 8 and
Okay.
they get a lot of funding from other entities as well, but I know through the Day Smith Christmas Fund they do every year, they get a lot.
So they're getting 8,000 now already?
Yes,
I'll email Daryl and ask him, it's for the Meals on Wheels. I'll ask him what he
Yeah.
was, just to clarify what he was asking.
yeah, and yeah. And then the other ones were pretty much kept the same, community and special projects. That was a one-time grant that somebody wanted last year for 3,000. Oh, that's where we had Kootenai Soil and Water. That's where we had. So I just moved it to its own. And I left the community special projects back. And then the one that's the biggest one in Silver Express Bus, that fund is what covers anything that doesn't get covered by the grant.
And we have to do a match grant type deal on that one, right?
It's the Express Bus Grant,
Yeah.
5311. We've had it for years.
Yeah.
I think it's fund 211 or something. Yeah. It's managed outside of the budget, but we have to have a match, and that's our extra that to cover whatever.
Yeah.
It used to be in the indigent fund, and that's where we took it from, but because the indigent fund is no more, I had to move it to current expense.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Any questions on community projects?
No.
I think so. Okay,
Okay, next one is data processing. Data processing thing is basic our network and computer budget. Primarily BJ is the one that charges through that, or all of our renewals for different subscriptions to software, licensing for our computers, computer arts is in there. The biggest increase in that is in our, computer arts, which is software maintenance. So they went up, as you know, because we decided to stay with computer arts, it's a $30,000 increase, or 30% increase this year, not $30,000. 30% increase this year in the next 5 years, and then last, or 4 years, and last year it will be decreasing. That's where that came from. The rest of the numbers weren't too much out of whack. I mean, they're just normal increases. We've been doing good in our Windows 7 to Windows 10 upgrades. Windows Phone.
so this is county-wide, right? This is data processing and that for the sheriff, for that,
No, they've got their own, and it's only current expense.
it's only current expense.
Yeah, so if he does something for the sheriff's department or roads or whatever, then it hits their budget under data processing.
Okay.
And Zach is on their side, does their data processing, but BJ sometimes helps out.
Okay, we're like an internet expense, we're at 31% and at hardware maintenance, we're at 45%. Are we doing something at the end of the year? Is that what?
Possibly. Today, I ran this today, so I don't know if we just haven't gotten those invoices in. A lot of the software ones come in like at a certain time in the year, and you just get them, and I don't know about those, so I'd have to run a data transaction detail report and see when you get them, but we get there. I actually did reduce it a bit. Let's see.
Madam Clerk, just a point of clarification for me on some of these items. I'll take, for instance, the internet expense. Is that going to be network specifics of this internet expense here? Under 440,004, that's going to be this building,
This is only this building.
everyone except for instance, the prosecutor's office in this building.
You have your own, because
Yeah.
you have extra,
And then it wouldn't include the sheriff's office either, right? Okay, so
and it wouldn't include solid waste.
Roads.
Okay.
Roads, you know, they're outlying buildings that would not cover. That would be in the road budget.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one is gonna be just our Wi-Fi here.
Got it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions, Commissioner? Okay,
So those are all the current expenses.
now before we go on, just so that the question's adding up, let me pause for a round of public questions or comments, and then we'll go on with the rest of them. I'll go around. Margie, questions?
I have three.
You have three.
So, what or who is a COVID employee?
We don't have that anymore. That's not budgeted anymore. That was back when we had COVID.
2021, okay. The next one is new jail consulting services, $5,000. That was also
We
2021.
don't do that anymore either.
So what was that though?
When the sheriff was proposing to go out to bid or vote to build a new safety
So does
building.
that also involved the $20,000 that we paid for the land out here that they were gonna build on?
No.
Where's that $20,000? Was there $20,000?
I don't know anything about a $20,000 land purchase.
40,000?
There was some money spent to buy that railroad property, I
The
think. she
railroad
talked
property,
about.
that's not more than that.
That's still an escrow. That would be,
The other one that I have is, it says COVID-19 and then it says Silver Mountain tax. So that's when Silver Mountain was overtaxed, what we're paying them back.
Which one are you looking at? What number?
I'm on
At the top.
page 3 on FN 7.
So there should be like data processing.
It says current expense.
Okay, current.
County general. So anyway, underneath that, it says miscellaneous expense, and it goes 2021, 226,000, 2022 minus 101,000, then it gets to 2023, 55,000, and the percentage is 6,898%.
Yeah, that's the one I said that so SNO or SNW ops is who Silver Mountain is. And through the negotiations with them and
From the
the commissioners and for 2017, that went to the Supreme Court and was settled. So the settlement just came down in the last couple of months. And in that negotiation, we had to pay them back what they overpaid, which was $182,621. We received money back from them for attorney fees and stuff. And
So
then
we owe
each of the districts that we have that were affected by that would be City of Kellogg, School District 391, City of Wardner, Fire District 2, the county, and somebody else.
or district or water board.
Yeah.
Library.
Hospital, maybe.
Hospital, that's what it's like, there's 6. Yeah, Shoshone. So they have to give back to the county the money that we paid out on their behalf. So they'll be refunding that. So what you see there's, is what we paid out to settle 2017. What the other little note there says is 391 repaid, 128,020. That actually was provided back to us because we covered them in their 2018 or 19, 20, and 21 taxes. So they paid us back. So we're clear on that. It's a back and forth thing. Yeah. Yeah. And there's no other budget line item for that in the budget. So therefore it goes into county.
And then there was, no, I don't know what I did with it. Had to do with, county commissioners thing.
Well, we'll give you another chance in a minute if you come back to it.
So anyway,
We'll come back.
Thank you.
Steve, any questions?
Far too many for me to even formulate.
Okay, I'll take that as a pause. Matt?
Yeah, where's the BJ's contract data? What is the data processing? Curious.
It's not a contract. He just bills us for, what he does at an hourly rate, and then he charges us for things that he purchases.
So where's that built up? Each
Data
department?
processing,
Data.
and each department. It depends on what it is. If it's something that benefits everybody, then it comes out of data processing. If it's for just the clerk's office, it comes out of my budget.
I didn't see any line items paying. Out of
Paying what?
processing. We're paying BJ if we just out of for everybody. If I'm wrong, but
Oh, I think I know what he's asking.
So computer operations is where a lot of that will go. If he's working on computers or servers and that are in the server room, that kind of thing. That's coming out of this 141 budget.
Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Any other questions at this time?
No.
Okay. All right, let's move to liability insurance. What you got next? My handout is what I've got
I'll switch books.
to the other book. I'd like to see how you file them in order so I can keep track.
This is my phone number. Okay, so liability insurance. Liability insurance is what we pay each year to ICRIT. And the ICRIT invoice this year it went from 212,000 to 225,024. And the other change in there is we went from our insurance deductible from 2,500 per incident to 5,000 per incident.
So we're paying more
A lot more.
and getting a little less.
Yep.
So that's why
And we
you,
did get a discount on that too. The law enforcement risk assessment discount of 86.72, 8,600.
okay. So
Could have
the
been worse.
increase in deductible you showed, you put 20,000 down to cover that increase.
I mean, accidents appear to be going up. They're not all shown there yet, so I haven't gotten any invoices on them yet, but they're going up. And the insurance carrier does attempt to get that deductible back if they win a claim with the other person's insurance or whatever. But sometimes they don't get all of it back. And then they'll refund whatever they got back out of our deductible. I haven't seen them yet, but that's the idea.
Any questions?
Sure. No, it's pretty
Any
straightforward.
questions, Mr. Prosecutor?
Good for me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, ma'am, if you would,
Next one is self-insurance plan. That's our dental plan that we have. This is a levied account. We had 105 for 2 years and then we started going down. You'll notice that the actual premiums that were billed or bills that we paid are actually below that. And we back up into one line because I don't know why we even did that before, but we've been that way for a long time. So we just put them up so you can actually see what's what on them. So we were at 89,000 claims to date. Of course, we're always behind, so we bumped it up to 118.
okay,
That's it.
this is a quick one. Any questions on dental?
No, and that covers, the next 2 months, right? The 118, I mean, for next year. I see what you did. So you just took the average. and then
Yeah, I just
bumped it up.
figured I know we're going up then.
Yeah,
And we're also finding that employees have more children than we're not as old as we, old of.
okay.
Careful how you say
employees
that one.
outside of. But, there's a lot more families, let's just say that.
Okay.
That's constantly.
All right. Further questions? All right, we'll. Public health.
Public Health District is the next one. This is, told to us how much it's gonna be every year by them. We pay it quarterly. So there's not like a whole bunch to talk about in it, cause it's like a one item thing. Went from 113 this year, it actually went down to 110. So, which is good. But yesterday, I think it was yesterday, or the day before or yesterday, when we talked solid waste and I had that line item for PhD in there. They pay and have for years, 25% of the first invoice, quarterly invoice to Animal Health. We get the invoice quarterly, the county, this fund pays 75% of that, and 25% is paid by the roads department. I'm assuming that that is for their CDL or I don't know, something, testing, I have no idea, but
Okay.
that's really their question, but that is why they have that bill. They don't actually get that bill, we just divide that out of it when we get our first one.
That's why they weren't familiar with it now. But we still, as commissioners, don't really know what the health district's doing
Yeah,
for our money.
And I looked through the presentation that Dan Duffy has with you every year, and I did not see anything that really spells that out. But then again, I don't know, that he would know. It's on our financing side that we're splitting it out. It's not, I don't know why they came up with doing it, but they did. So.
Okay. So
That
that's the
was
question
a long time ago.
Need to direct to him, but
Yeah, I don't know that he would know that. I mean, if we found out exactly what services they provide to us, since solid waste said they never see or hear from them. Maybe it's something that we need to adjust.
yeah, I think understanding what it's going to cover right now would be helpful, so. Okay. Any further questions from the elected? Okay,
Next one is Historical Society. One has two funds in it, Sunshine Memorial and the Historical Society. The Sunshine Memorial is, just that. It's just the Sunshine Memorial. And then we also have a fund for that, that they do fundraising things and stuff, and they send me money, and we manage that fund as well.
does it
It's
show up
tracked.
here? or-
No, it's totally separate. It's this fund all by itself. It's not budget. Okay, and so on the historical side, society line item, we have the Captain John Mullen Museum, American Historical Society, Northern Pacific Railway Depot, Shoshone County Mining and Smelting Museum, Spread Coal Museum, Walls District Mining Museum. And we make 2 payments a year to each of those at varying amounts.
Okay, so no changes. We're still helping the historical.
Mhm. Nobody asked for any changes on that. It's that budget's under you guys too.
Questions, Mr. Commissioner?
that was the
Mr.
one that we
Prosecutor?
paid out and helped the
Molly,
Mullen Courthouse.
the Murray.
Murray Courthouse.
Courthouse.
On the historical.
That was not out of the,
Okay,
no, the money that you got for them was out of ARPA,
okay, that was,
Because we were
Part of it
paying
was,
because we own the
yeah.
building.
okay, they,
the LATCF, must have been LATCF then, because
Okay.
can't use ARPA for that. Yeah, but we didn't budget anything for that, other than what we already
yeah,
provide them.
okay.
Okay, any questions, Mr. Prosecutor? Okay, thank you, Madam Clerk. Airport, Well, that's what popped up next for
Oh,
me.
to the junior college.
Looking.
Yeah, I did a junior college. We didn't talk about that already, didn't
Nope.
we? Oh, yeah, you know, we did. We did when we did my budget.
Oh,
Sorry. Like that. Okay. On the airport side. We have no airport manager, we did in 21, that's why it's still on there. And until January. Temporary wages are what cover the time to plow the runways. That's really about it. Of course, that's not benefited, but it does require some other benefit items. And then we have, internet expense. We were pretty low on that, so I reduced it. Supplies, very, very low. I left it the same because I can't imagine what we would need that we haven't already gotten because we've only been talking about $250. Telephone, the same. Solid waste fees, that's the dump fees, I guess, that they pay out there. Water, power, propane, and heat. We budget 14,500 altogether. We're talking on that. Airplane fuel. We budgeted 32,000. We've only spent 180, but that hasn't hit yet.
yeah, we actually spent it, but we found out
Yeah.
they did not invoice us.
Right, so that, I know it's done, but and it'll be done again, I'm sure, but
I do
I
expect,
did reduce it. There was a request for 60,000 from you guys on airport fuel. I reduced it to 40. I don't know what's going on out there that would require 60.
well, under the old system, the commissioners didn't change the price much, and so we weren't very competitive. Under our new system, we are trying to be competitive in the region with prices. So the goal was that would raise our income and raise our expense. But I don't know how to show that, we're actually making $1 a gallon or whatever on that, but
We just, yeah, because I mean, you don't get the sale till
but
you get the sale, but you gotta have it all in hand, right? And they don't use it all in a year, or maybe they use more in a year. So it's really kind of a crapshoot.
yeah, I just wanted to imply that we have changed strategies, which we think is going to sell more fuel, which would raise our income and our expense.
Which, if that's the case, and you go over in your expense and over on your revenue side, it's a wash.
Right.
So
Yeah.
similar to what the road does on a lot of their things.
And it should be a wash if we're charging.
Should be more, yeah.
We should actually be bringing some income into the airport
Mhm.
since we're selling it for, there were times in the past where we sold fuel for less than we paid.
Sure.
And there were times when we sold fuel for so high that nobody bought our fuel. So we're just monitoring that. I had a little conversation with the prosecutor about having our new airport manager monitor that and suggest so that the commissioners can change the price on a monthly basis if we need to. So we don't undersell fuel anymore.
Madam Clerk, do we know, so obviously the proposed budget for the fuel is going, or is proposed to go up. Do we know how much we anticipate or expect our income generated to increase?
I can tell you what I put down for airport fuel. 45,000. And that's what we had last year also.
Okay.
And, currently, as of 7/12, we were only at 22,000. But I don't know that, well, yeah, I do know we get those every day. So I know what we make to date, but I don't know what we purchase per day. They all come in like 2 bunches a year, so.
Yeah.
So, 2 deliveries.
We found that they weren't invoicing. Tracy found that we were missing some invoices that she called them about. For like the last load of fuel we bought.
Oh,
They just didn't invoice us. Which I
yeah, I
like.
think they have the wrong email address. I heard about that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, we budgeted that, but we only have sold so far to date, and that number is an accurate number as of 7/12, because we get, every time they sell fuel, it goes through a credit card. And then they get that credit card and they carry a memo
Mm-hmm.
that is automatically transferred to our bank. And I know exactly how much we've sold.
Okay.
So to date, that's the amount we've sold. As of 7/12. Usually it's like 2 days, not very much.
You know, Commissioner, that doesn't line up.
Mhm.
I mean, unless they undersold fuel last year.
Yeah.
We should always see.
How much did you think that we sold 45,000 in fuel?
No, that's what the budget was. We
That's
sold
what they
22,000.
22,000, and we've gotten more than that.
But last year, we sold 65,000 for the whole year.
Yeah.
We didn't have a budget for it because we were tracking it outside of this fund and they were tracking it in a separate fund. But, that fund did not work out. Because they were only purchasing once a year. They wanted to put the purchase in there and the sell in the same fund. Like
Okay.
you would do a road fund or something for a grant. But that doesn't really work because that just goes, you don't know when you're gonna buy it again or when you're not. They wanted to budget for it, we don't budget those kinds of funds. So.
Hmm.
That really didn't work out. It needs to be in the budget.
See the
So we
low.
moved it back to the budget. But we did sell 65,000 last year.
Okay.
And we purchased. Yeah, I don't know how much we. Oh, well, we tracked right on. We were doing good last year. We sold 65,653, but we spent 68,000.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
So
where
this year, we're at 32, we budgeted to purchase it, because we did have a lot left from what I understood.
Mhm.
And we currently have. We don't know how much. We don't do workers yet,
right.
so I don't know where we're at, but I know we've collected 22,047.
Maintenance, I see you'd reduced maintenance building and fixture. I think we need to watch that one after we saw what condition the house was in. I think we're gonna need some more maintenance on the building.
Mhm.
Okay, you guys can change that, so when you do your review next week, you can come up with what your final numbers are, you're just gonna write them all on every page.
Gotcha.
And that's how you'll adjust that, then.
Okay.
But you'll give us current versions of this for next week. Okay, so we'll have everything to look at. So
Yeah.
my little notes here won't matter to you, but
Nope.
okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
For grants, this is not where the big federal grant pops in.
No grants are tracking.
I just saw a line there
Yeah.
for grants, but
That was, I believe, some COVID money
okay.
that didn't really have anywhere else to go. So, little things that they had out there. But there was no budget for it.
Any questions?
No.
Mr. Prosecutor, any questions?
And for me, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I think that
Fish hatchery
Fish
is next.
fish hatchery.
Fish hatchery, we stayed the same on everything, because I got nothing from fish hatchery.
Okay.
And they didn't look that bad in the budget, so I just
Yeah.
left them where they are. Other than for maintenance, so. And I anticipate that will go over, just because they're in the middle of the summer season, and the fish hatchery would be
But
things, I would
we
think.
did give them some of that ARPA money
Yeah.
that will cover what would have been maintenance
Mhm.
because they're putting in the new pipe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're not hitting the budget, but they are at 91% with what they did, but it's only $1,000, so
Okay.
not much of a budget.
Right. Any questions on the fish hatchery?
No.
Fish prosecutor, any questions?
None for me.
I think that does that. Let's open it up. Let's open it up to public. We'll swing it around. Matt, you're first.
So can I talk about the last week when we did the budget before?
Whatever you want.
Now, I believe the budget or the increase for insurance that you gave the departments to go off of was 10% increase.
No, it was 9.5% on medical and dental.
That's what these guys gave them to go off of to send to the budget, each budget department to do their budget off of. I thought it was 10%.
No, I give them a rate sheet, a budget rate sheet that, um, looks like this. And it automatically calculates everything, so they put what their total annual salary
Right,
are
I've got
and all that, and then these are already pre-populated with what the budget
So-
number would
so
be,
what-
and it's
what did he-
9.5,
What did he come back in June with?
9,
So half a point.
a half a point, and it wasn't in June, it was last week, it was this week, Monday.
So it's better than I thought. Doesn't look like the 0.5% got taken off the roads department.
It didn't, and it's not going to until after they approve the budget, because I have to completely do everybody's rate sheets and budget.
So next week, we will correct that to
With
9.
with whatever
This
adjustments they're
is all
doing.
news to me because Ben's budget is corrected.
No, it isn't.
Well, he's down, and I don't think you're losing anybody.
He's a prophet.
We added people.
Now, everybody went with the same numbers generically until we knew the facts.
No, I know it. They always do. They give them a rough number in May, April to go off of. Yeah, it's in here someplace, Ben. But yours actually went down. Oh, there it is. Or medical insurance went through. Excuse me, yours stayed the same too. I was looking at the wrong number, my fault.
Okay? Next question.
That's it. Now that.
Okay, Steve, any questions?
Once again, far too many
We won't even go there.
speak.
Okay, Audrey, questions? Okay, so in my notes, then the only budgets we have not gone over with you would be the assessor who was not available.
If you'd like to see that, I can do that.
Can we do that without announcing?
It's general
It's the
budget.
general
Today's
budget.
General budget.
So anything.
We're
that's
general
related to
today.
budget.
Yeah.
So we could
We're
also
not
do
making any decision on anything, so
corporals and sergeants.
is that how that works? Making
It'd be
decisions
nice.
on nothing and
Let's see.
general that comes in and
I think the important piece is
Thank
that
you.
it's just a general.
We're gonna
budget.
put a copier in
So
here for
anything
you.
that's related to your budget.
Yeah.
You guys are
Every
free
time
to
you move
discuss.
the camera,
you know,
it's trying
purpose
to
of that
follow
meeting.
you. Every time you adjusted,
A lot
it
down.
was really going. Aren't you glad you made it to this meeting, Mr. Prosecutor?
I am, yeah.
You can see that we don't often get PowerPoints and a real educational.
I think last year maybe threw everybody off because historically in the past, I think that, you know, the county did a good job of making sure that these presentations were given time and effort. And I recall sitting in on some of the general workshops as well. And last year, I think with not as much emphasis put on it, maybe everybody got a little lackadaisical. So I am excited to see us putting an emphasis back into it. So, you know,
That's because there's a huge learning curve going on.
yeah.
We need all the information we can get. Now, we went over all the clerk budgets, we've gone over the prosecutor, we've gone over the sheriff, we've gone over the commissioners, the treasurer. So the assessor, I think, is the last one that we have not,
The only
one we haven't talked about.
Weed?
we talked about, we did,
It
talked
was,
about we
it was in the
roads.
roads, when we did roads. And we'll be talking about it again next week. We're gonna get down in the weeds. Thank you, and thank you, Sydney.
Oh, you already gave one, yeah? I guess we need another one down there.
Margie, get one.
For Jennifer.
You bet.
All right, so now we have before us the assessor who's out of town this week, so. You met with his office?
I
right?
did, I met with
This.
Connie Richard, that's who I meet with every year.
Okay.
And we went through the budget and so we gave the 5% for the salaries. Benefits just adjusted for what they,
Let me back up on, backing up on salary. Deputies went from 90 to 91, so I don't see a 5%.
that's because they're only at 65% down there, and when this thing was run and they moved some people around and they
Oh,
have,
so it's not.
they
apples to
have,
apples.
yeah, so they have, so in the assessor's budget, they only have 2 deputies. They have Terry Wild and Nancy Gone. That's the only 2 they have. And they went up, the full salary and they were 87, 443, they went to 91, 815
Okay,
for those 2.
where's Connie end up?
She's actually an appraiser in motor
Oh.
vehicle.
Oh, gotcha.
So we can look at those as well, because they're all 3 his budget.
Okay.
So there's only 2 deputies in this budget,
Understand.
right? And Jerry. Okay, and so other changes that we made. We weren't too bad. We went up on equipment maintenance. And there was a reason for that. We asked for. What number? For copier. That's for the copier. We added $1,250. Copier maintenance, because we're purchasing the copier in this budget.
Okay.
It used to be leased. Now that won't be anymore, and we're changing it to purchase under 807.
While we're on that one, just the line above it, vehicle expense, they only use 2%.
Yeah, we budget that, 'cause you can't even buy tires for under $1,000 if we need them.
Okay.
That should cover their oil changes and tires and anything else that happens. And then have me cover this year, but summertime, I think, is the most that they drive that vehicle. I think Jerry drives it quite a bit, you know. Meetings or whatever. We went slightly on postage because postage has increased. Lease payments I zeroed out because we don't have a lease anymore.
Okay. That's what that is. Okay.
That was the copier, and then I added the copier under capital.
Gotcha.
And then, yeah. And I increased their dues too.
$200, yeah.
Why is their travel budget at zero? Isn't that where Jerry going to IAC and stuff? Isn't what that would be?
What is it, 1,800? They haven't spent any this year.
That's what I think I'm at.
Yeah, registrations, they spent some for registration. But he, maybe it included travel. Some of the things that we go to, they pay for our travel. From my court clerks, when they go down for court pending, they pay their travel and their hotel and
Okay.
they have to cover meals.
Also, since his department has a
And
vehicle,
they have vehicle too. He drives.
he's likely, I would assume, driving that vehicle to a lot of these
Yeah.
meetings.
Okay.
So you're not gonna see it in travel because
Right.
he's using the vehicle.
Right.
I'd see a hotel or something there, but,
Good. Yeah, just travel is where he's got it out.
and he doesn't have a fuel line. So that would be travel,
Vehicle expense is where you might be putting it.
but he's only got
But he
2% there.
does actually he does in a different budget.
Okay,
I think he does in a crazy. We'll look at them, but I'm sure he does in a crazy. So
okay.
they'll probably just charge it all there because originally that vehicle was for the appraisers, wasn't it? Been a while.
I don't know how you keep them straight anyway. Is it possible to look at appraiser?
Yeah,
Appraisal.
we'll look at that on motor vehicles as well. So motor vehicles will be next. I did, copies made in, sorry.
Sorry.
Want to just talk about them or you want me to make them? We'll need to
Doesn't have to.
I forgot
You want-
that.
If you want.
We can just try talking about them and see if we have too many questions or not.
Okay. We can do that. So on motor vehicles, that's the MV downstairs. Their salaries went from 72,000 to 76,792. That's just 5% increase. And they also had a bump, also grade bump from intermediate to grade level. So they're both pretty good employees down there. And then their benefits, went down a little bit. So they went up in telephone. I'm not sure why. Let me see. Yeah, pull the phone line, but it's the MyTel phone line. They also have, faxes down there to communicate with the state. They have to fax a lot of stuff down there, so that's probably what that is. Cause the MyTel bills went down.
Do they have a copier?
Lot that's under lease.
Any major changes in that budget?
We went up on office equipment a little bit, $1,000. And she asked for that. Office supplies, it was office supplies. She went from 200 to 1,000. They need new chairs. 3 of them. Costs going up, so that's why she increased that.
We usually put chairs under office supply
It's office equipment,
equipment. Gotcha.
but office supplies are also going up.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we're going on that too. No, they didn't on office supplies.
Okay. Any questions? No. Mr. Prosecutor, any questions?
None for me.
Okay.
Okay. And,
Back to the other book.
Okay, so on appraisal. Okay, in appraisal, we have Katie, Connie, John, Katie and then Katie J, Doug, Kelsey, and Clark. In motor vehicles, we only have two, Savannah and Madison. So in this particular budget, we go from 249,984 to 286,505. And that's,
5%.
a little, yeah, but plus they had a couple of bumps as well. So. And then we also have one that, is going down to part-time.
In appraisal.
Katie's going to part-time. John is part-time, but we gave 5% to everybody but Katie, and Katie got an additional bump. She got a bump of 11.67% based on her accreditations that she got. Instead of 5%.
No. 11% bump
It's 11% total.
for her.
So they have classes that they have to do too.
Mhm.
So she went from. Sorry. Where is she? She was at 2170, I believe. On that sheet, and she went up to 2541. Yeah, but yeah, 2253 to 2541. The longevity raise was part of that, and then the change in class.
Oh, okay. So she had double.
Mhm.
Okay.
They also increased younger people, and there was some younger people in there that are having families now, so their insurance changed. Not that they were new employees, but their insurance changed.
We can't outlaw that, can we? Okay.
Travel, I bumped up $1,000 for the appraisal for different classes that they need to take. I bumped up copier and fax supplies because our big plotter machine, ink has gone up. It's downstairs. Fuel is where that is, and it bumped up. They're 3,500 last year, they're at 5,000 this year. And it's 1475 is where they had as of 7-11. And I don't know where they get their fuel. I decreased vehicle expense from 1,750 to 1,200 because we haven't spent any, and it was 1,300 the year before and 700 the year before that, so I bumped it down. We bumped up dues, $200. Education and registration, I bumped up to 6,500. They're only at 21%, but she said that they would be taking. Appraisal equipment went up, or no, it stayed the same, sorry. It stayed the same. It's the wrong one. And that's it.
Any questions from the commission?
Not me, but
How much did education bump up to 65 from?
From 55 to 61.
Questions, Mr. Prosecutor?
Not for me. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I don't think I have any. Let's go to the public. Anything on these assessor?
Yeah, so I don't.
Okay. Steve? No. Margie? No. Okay. Madam Clerk, anything, final thoughts? We've gone over everything now. One time, first time. Then next week, the commission will go over it again. Right? And then we'll get that done and back to you, and then you'll publish whatever comes out of that as the, what do you call that first when you publish the
Published budget.
published budget?
It's the only one I published.
But then we
But
still
that's
have to
the-
approve it in September. Final.
And after, once we get it in the paper and approved, then we work with those numbers and I try to fit them into the levy rates that they can match. And if they go above those levy rates, then we have to reduce. In that fund, whichever fund it is, in order for it to fit in the levy rate. And then, I mean, if it goes up a ton, but they're not at their cap, it's up to you guys to decide if you're gonna allow that to happen or not.
Right? Any thoughts?
No.
Thanks for the work.
Yep.
I see that it was no small task. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Prosecutor, for taking time to join us.
You bet.
Thank you. And Sydney, with that, we will close the meeting.